This is to show ways of getting started quickly with your project. So first one is using image files. So insert an image. You've got maybe a scan drawing or something of your project, a scan plan. You've got to know at least one dimension, and the bigger the dimension, the better, because you're going to be more accurate. So here, for example, I've got a dimension that I know is 40 feet from there to there. I start by putting into my file a model line. A model line is something that is visible in any view inside the model. And if I zoom in, I'm just going to place it where I think the middle of the witness line is, and then give a direction and type in the actual size that I'm looking for, which is 40 feet. So if I escape to get out of this, my green line is 40 feet long, but in my image file, 40 feet appears to be much larger. So what I need to do is scale my image file, and I do that by picking it. There's a scale command, which is this one here, rescale, R-E. The option is up here. You can do it graphically, or you can do it by a number. Say 0.5 would make it half as big, but I don't know what the sizes are, so I'm going to do it graphically. My first point is where the witness line is on the graphic. My second point is on the graphic where the witness line represents that 40 feet. And my third point is at the end of that green line, which actually is the measured distance of 40 feet. So it takes what it measured in the drawing and look at the ratio between the image 40 feet and the model line 40 feet and turns my model into something more life size. So now my green line really kind of matches up with that. Never going to be 100% exact, so when you start to draft, don't be surprised that you have to make some little changes in the model. You can make things a little easier on yourself if you pin it so that you don't accidentally move it. And you can also push it to the background, which means that if you draw something on top of it, it won't be covered up by the graphic. But for example, if I started to draw with this, if I said I need a wall that is my interior brick on metal stud, and I'm just approximating the middle of the wall. I'm actually drawing that, and I would draw it clockwise around my project on top of my graphic. I could look at this in some detail, medium. And I could use the technique where I pick the object that I want to move. Excuse me. I pick it's actually, I drew that pretty accurately. That was 40 feet. Let me try it with the other wall. If I go down and pick the wall at the bottom here. And that was just good luck, right? So what I was getting at is I can be modifying the size of things by picking the object that is to move and then modifying the dimensions that are attached to them. So for example, if I put in the interior walls, if I do wall, it was interior 5, I think it was the 5-inch partition. I'm just going to eyeball them in here. So I'm just like, there's something that comes down here, escape, click, click, escape, escape, click, click, escape. It's most of the walls, right? I can use my trimming tools to say extend to that wall this and this. Oops, I need to do the multiple, extend multiple. So to that wall this and this, to that wall this, to that wall this. I'm just picking and clicking, right? So target, target wall and what I'm extending. Target wall, what I'm extending, that and that. Or target wall this, what I'm extending. Either one or multiple, what am I extending? So I'm just putting that in. Sometimes turn on the shadows will help a lot because you can see the what is three-dimensional. And then you can be using the temporary dimensions. So for example, that was maybe 15 feet from the center to center, and if your manage additional settings, temporary dimensions, if that's set up to be center line to center line, if I pick on this, the dimensions are measuring center line to center line, and I can go in and say, well, that's supposed to be 15, right? And if I pick on that, I look for my temporary dimension, that's supposed to be, is it 7'6"? Then down here I've got inside face, right? So if I pick that, I can say temporary dimension is supposed to be 7 feet in there. So I could click and click to get inside face, and then click on that and say 7 feet. Or kind of my preferred approach would be, since I've got the spacing on the other ones already done, the manage additional settings, temporary dimensions, go from faces to openings. So instead of doing clicking to move the witness line, I can now pick on the wall, and that temporary dimension is measuring from face to face, and then I go in and say that's supposed to be 7, and this one looking at the temporary dimension, oh thank goodness it didn't show up correctly. I just want to show that if it doesn't pop up where you want, you can either sorry, let me undo. You can either adjust the temporary dimension, or if it gets kind of super tricky, just put a dimension, use the tab key to find the face of the wall. The tab key, just show you here, tab key to find the face of the wall, and put that in. And since that becomes a permanent dimension, that becomes a temporary dimension when you pick the object it's attached to, I can go in there, say that's to be 10 feet. So I've actually done I don't need it anymore, I can delete it. I've actually done the 3D building exercise, but in much faster time. Got my wall type wrong. Tab, select. It wasn't that one. It was this one. It was brick on metal stud. Okay, so if I look at that, let me just check my distances. Is that 15 feet? 15 feet. I've got to go back to where I was before. The setting that said make it center to center, center line to center line. that. That 7'6". Face to openings. That 10 feet and that. $7. Looking at it in 3D, I think we said these outside walls should go up to level 2. These inside walls, so select all instances in the view, should be up to level 2, which they were.